Hello everyone. Give me just 1 second, still getting on here. If you can hear me, throw me up some hearts so I know you're there. And just give me one more second to get in the right places here. All right. Hello everyone. Still getting on here. Okay. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Stephanie Breimer. I got a like, so hopefully somebody can hear me. My name is Stephanie Breimer. I'm a star director here with Scentsy, and I'm in the Scented Bliss group under Tracy, of course. I'm going to talk to you today about taxes. Probably everybody's least favorite subject when it comes to Scentsy, but it's super important, and a lot of people can get really scared about it, and it's not as scary as you think. So one of my main goals in Scentsy is to help people to feel more comfortable doing their own taxes, knowing what they need. And because once you're comfortable with doing your own taxes and what's required on the Scentsy front of that, it empowers you to really grow your business and expand your business without being scared of the IRS. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So first off, when you joined Scentsy, you became a self-employed business owner. I know it doesn't seem like you did just by getting that $99 kit, but you did. You're a self-employed business owner, and you have some new responsibilities as a self-employed business owner. I'm not going to have enough time to tell you everything that has to do with taxes while I'm on today. So there is a link in the description of the video that has a link to a group. It's called US Tax Dollars and Cents. Cents is spelled SCENTS. Yay, Heather can hear me. That means everybody can hear me, I hope. Join that group. When you join that group, there are some group questions, and we will not approve you unless you answer every single question. You read the rules and check the little box that says, I agree to the rules. That group is very strict, and the only people that can talk and answer everybody can talk, but the only people that can answer tax questions are vetted tax professionals. As Tracy said in her intro for today, I worked at the IRS for several years. I've been doing taxes for I don't even know how many years, but I've got a pretty good handle on taxes. I actually trained tax examiners for the IRS for, 4 or 5 years. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to taxes. So that group is the same way. Everybody in that group is vetted and a tax professional, the people that can answer questions. So it's not like going to a different group and asking a whole bunch of questions and getting 5,000 different answers and you've got to pick the best one. You're going to get one answer in that group. So it's a really good resource for Scentsy consultants. It's only for Scentsy consultants, and I put a lot of time and effort in there as well, so it's a good place to be. The first thing I want you to do, today is January 1st, and I have an alarm that goes off every year 5 minutes after midnight for me to do this. Go out to your car and take a picture of your mileage, because you can use that mileage number for your ending for 2022 and your beginning for 2023. You can do mileage without knowing your beginning and ending. However, you're going to miss out on a write-off or a deduction. That's what's going to lower how much tax you owe. You're going to miss a write-off if you don't have your beginning and ending mileage. You are allowed, if you're paying a car payment, not a lease, but an actual car payment to own your car, you can write off a portion of the interest that you paid on your car loan as well. I highly suggest doing mileage, because mileage is usually a better write-off than the actual expenses for your car, like the gas and the oil changes and everything like that, and it's way easier to track. You do have to keep a written record of mileage. So it's the first of the year. Get started. Start that written record. Your written record can be anything. You can use an app. There's apps like MileIQ. There's apps like I don't know any other apps off the top of my head, but there's a bunch of apps. You can also just take a notebook, like this kind of notebook, and put that notebook out there and in your car, and just every time you make any kind of Scentsy trip, just write it down and how many miles it was, or even just write to where it was so you can MapQuest it. MapQuest, Google Maps, whatever you use. MapQuest is so old. I'm so old. Whatever you use, you can put on there later what the actual mileage is. You just need to have some sort of record with the date, where you went, and the number of miles. That's all you need for the written record. So the next thing, I wanted to talk about that first since it's January 1st and a lot of people forget about the mileage on January 1st. But the next thing I want to talk about is two main things. When you do your taxes for Scentsy, you're going to fill out what's called a Schedule C. And that Schedule C says, I am a business owner, I am self-employed, okay? There's two main sections of that Schedule C. There's income, and then there's expenses, okay? The income is everything that you made with Scentsy. Typically, that's going to come from a 1099 that Scentsy gives us, which it's January, so we should be getting the 1099 for 2022 sometime this month. It usually comes like the third week of January, the fourth week of January is when we usually get those 1099s. Now, I'm going to explain the number one question that I get asked in the tax group. If you made less than $600 with Scentsy, you will not get a 1099. However, that does not mean that you don't have to claim your Scentsy income or file taxes. Okay? If you made over $400, you absolutely 100% have to file a tax return and claim your Scentsy money. If you made less than $400, the only way you don't have to claim it is if you're not filing a tax return at all. Like you're not sending anything to the IRS. Every other instance, you have to claim by federal law. You have to claim the money you made from Scentsy. So if it's less than $600 and you didn't get a 1099, you need to go onto your workstation, and you need to go to account, and then you need to go generate pay statement and do it for 2022. And that'll give you all the money that you made for 2022. That's what you would claim as your income on your Schedule C. You put in all your income. Sometimes you'll get a 1099 from Square, PayPal, Venmo. The IRS just like 2 or 3 days ago, a week ago, I don't know, they said that they weren't going to hold PayPal and Venmo accountable for 1099s this year, even though they've been saying all year that they were. So if you use PayPal and Venmo, which I know a lot of us do, for 2022, we're not going to get the 1099s that we were expecting. They are supposed to implement that in 2023 now. So you will need to kind of keep track of that. And I don't want to go into that a lot, but go into that US Tax Dollars and Cents group and look for like third-party payment apps is what you would want to search for. And I give a lot of information because there is a ton of information on that, a ton of worry and concern on those third-party payment apps, and including them as income. Because for us, they're not income. Our income comes from our commission. So when we have a customer that says, I want to order a Stargaze warmer, they pay us $50 on Venmo, we place the order, we take their $50 and send it to Scentsy. So we didn't make anything. We don't make any income until we get that commission back from Scentsy. But Scentsy sends us a 1099 with commission on it, and Square or Venmo sends us a 1099 with the $50 payment that we got. So it's kind of like they're giving us double income that we would have to pay taxes on. You don't have to do that. Calm down. Don't stress about that. Go to US Tax Dollars and read about that. If you have questions about it, ask it in that group because I'll explain it a lot more in that group. Cash App, Heather, is in that same boat. Cash App will be sending 1099s as well. I believe Cash App lets you choose between business and personal. I think Square is the only one that doesn't let you choose between business and personal, and Square is all business for taking credit cards. So the different apps do different things, and really until they start actually sending out 1099s, it's really hard for me to answer a lot of the questions, but I can tell you what they're supposed to do according to the IRS. So again, that's a lot of information. I don't have time to share it here, so go to US Tax Dollars and Cents for that information. Okay, so back to your Schedule C. You got this form, and this form is 100% for Sensi, and you're just adding it to your your regular taxes. You got your income. The next thing you have is expenses. Okay, your expenses are anything that you purchased out of pocket for your Sensi business. So this can be anything from paying shipping for a customer, paying for the warmer of the month and sending out samples with it and using it as a display, mileage, driving to a team meeting in Lee Summit, tons and tons. There's so many things. You can write off a portion of your phone bill, a portion of your internet bill. You can write off a portion of your Amazon Prime subscription, the 100 and I don't know how much it is now. It was like $69 when I started. But a portion of your Amazon bill you can write off as a business expense if you're buying business stuff on Amazon. Tons and tons of things. Again, US Tax Dollars and Cents. I've got a spreadsheet telling you all of the different things you can write off as an expense and information telling you how to write it off, okay? There's two kinds of people in this world. There's the kind of people that wait till this time of year to worry about taxes for the entire last year and they didn't keep track of anything. I call those yearly trackers, because what you're going to do is you're going to sit down and you're going to spend several hours going through your bank statements and your credit card statements and your Amazon account and your workstation order history, and you're going to gather all those expenses and you're going to do it all at once. Then there's the people like me that do it on a very regular basis, once or twice a month, at worst every other month, and I track all year long. Either way is fine. It doesn't matter which way you do. The only thing that you really need to keep track of all year long is mileage. At the end of the year, you can, or beginning of the year, you can do the previous years, add it all up and do it however you want. I do have a spreadsheet that I made on the US Tax Dollar. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's here in Scented Bliss too in the files. But it's a spreadsheet to keep track of your expenses. And it's a really great tool because it's specifically made for Sensi. So it will track, you basically just type in your commission and then you type in any expenses you have for the month. And it puts it all into one sheet for you so that at tax time, if you have somebody else do your taxes, you just show them that. Or if you're doing it yourself, when you're going through the software, it'll ask you all the questions and you just look back at that sheet, pop in the number. Look at the sheet, pop in the number. Makes it really, really easy to file your Sensi taxes, okay? I can't help you with the rest of it, but it definitely helps with the Sensi portion of your taxes, okay? So you're going to write off all the things that cost you money during the year, and those are your expenses, okay? There's also a little portion that you can write off for business use of the home. That means if you have a room in your house that you use just for Sensi, for your Sensi office, you can write off a portion of that as the square footage of your home and get a bigger deduction on your taxes. So then what happens is you have your income and you have your expenses. You subtract your expenses from your income. So say I made $10,000 with Sensi and I had $5,000 in expenses. Then I'm going to subtract 5,000 from 10,000. $5,000 would be my net income. Okay, that's what I actually am saying to the IRS. I'm taking this amount home from Sensi. This is what I actually got. Okay, and then you have to pay taxes on that $5,000. Now, one thing a lot of people don't know about self-employment is there's an additional tax called self-employment tax. Okay, if you go to McDonald's and get a job and you have a W-2, they take out Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security out of your paycheck. That's part of and federal withholding out of your money to pay those taxes. As a Sensi consultant, we get 100% of our commission. Nothing is withheld. No federal withholding is withheld for taxes. No Medicare, no Social Security is withheld. So the self-employment tax that you pay at the end of the year when you file your taxes goes towards all of those things. except the federal withholding, because they wait till they have a net amount before they want to know how much to pay for your federal withholding. There's two separate taxes. There's your income tax and there's self-employment tax. If you made over $400 net, you are going to be liable for that self-employment tax. That self-employment tax is typically about 15% of whatever your net income was. So if you made $100, $15. If you made $1,000, $150. So it's a good practice through the year. If you're making decent money with Sensi, by decent I mean, a couple hundred or more dollars a month, to take about 15% of that check each month and put it into a savings account. That way, when you get to tax time, you have enough money to pay that. If your husband or you have another job where you do get a W-2, you can set it up to take an extra $20 out, $50 out a month. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said husband. I have a husband. If you have a spouse that you file taxes with, it can be husband or wife or whatever you have, that person can also have additional money taken out of their taxes as long as you're filing married, filing joint, and then that money can go to pay your Sensi self-employment tax. So my husband works a W-2 job. He has an extra $25 per paycheck held out of his paycheck. That way, when I file taxes, I never owe. If you get to a point where you're owing and you actually have to send the IRS a check, you may end up having to pay every quarter instead of once a year, on which I think Tracy probably pays once a quarter. The more money you're making, the more likely you are to have to pay every quarter, because nothing is withheld, and they want us paying that throughout the year, not all at once at the end of the year. That's typically not something most of you in this group are going to have to worry about. That's kind of way down the road, but I want you to be aware of it, okay? For now, if you withhold about 15% of your Sensi commission, you should be 100% fine on paying any taxes you may owe because of Sensi at the end of the year. Again, way more information and details in the U.S. Tax Dollars and Cents group, so definitely join that group. I talked to you about the $600. Talk to you about PayPal. So those are the main points that I wanted to make. If any of you do have questions, throw them out here. I can see a few people. We don't have a lot of people watching, but I'm sure my daughter's saying there's a really bad lag too, which doesn't surprise me. But you can pop in some questions if you want, and I will answer them after the video is posted and everything. If you're in Bliss, you're more than welcome to message me, to send me a private message. That's one of the groups one of the rules in the U.S. Tax Dollars and Cents group is that they can't message the admin privately, because at tax time I get way, way, way more friends and all they want is tax advice. But if you're in Scented Bliss, that is part of me being in this group. You have access to me. I will answer questions for you. I will help you. I would prefer you go to the group and check and search before you message me and ask me, but I will definitely be willing to help you and answer any questions. And that goes all the way from down to the bottom to the top. I think Tracy's asked me tax questions before, so it's totally okay to ask me. I don't mind. I won't get mad at you. I won't be like, oh, I'm too busy for you. You're allowed to do that. So if you have the questions, ask me. But definitely, number one thing I need from you guys as far as taxes go is to prepare for it. It's January 1st. This is a fresh start. This is when you prepare for your taxes for next year, okay? Go download the spreadsheet and start using it, and keep track of things, keep track of your mileage, all of that good stuff, all right? If you have any questions, hit me up. I do not remember who's next, but let me check real quick. Let's see. Amber Glass is next. She's coming up next on our day of training today. So I hope you guys are learning a lot. Hope you're having fun. And I'll be back later again tonight too. So you get to see more of me. Have a great day. Bye.
You done?
Yeah.
Okay. That took 40%.